Danny. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay, I'm okay. I'm keeping on in the Shire with my hairy feet.
Oh yes. I mean, I would love to engage with you on that joke, Lewis, but as you know, I'm a one-trick pony, as I've said. And
Yeah. You only ever make one joke once, never again
Yep.
do you say that punchline, never again do you even think about that joke.
no, I mean that joke's had its funeral, and we all wept over it, but now it's dead. And
Oh, I see.
It's time to get some new material, I think.
Far be it from you to ever say anything even resembling that joke ever again.
I do it all the time off the podcast.
Yes, you do.
This is the only place on earth that I don't.
You make a joke and then you make a note of it in your notebook as we're recording. Think, oh god, I can't say that one again. You cross it out and do a big red X next to it. And
That's it. I'm like Joaquin Phoenix and Joker. I just write all the jokes down in my joke book.
that was one thing that kind of bugged me about that film. I mean, it didn't bug me because it fit the character very well, but like it got on my nerves was how he had an A4 notebook and then he folded it down the middle.
Yeah.
How it wasn't already folded, and that made me like throw up in my mouth.
I threw up in the person sitting in front of me.
Projectile.
But I was on the bus, not watching Joker.
Oh, an unrelated thing. Not even motion sickness. You were just sat there and. Bleh.
I just looked at him and I was like, Jesus, and just vomited all over him.
Well, we've all been there, mate.
Yeah, we've all had that anecdote happen to us.
Oh yeah, we've all been sick on, and we've all been sick on the bus. We've all done that.
That's what all the celebrities talk about in Graham Norton. So, well, we've all been there, haven't we, when we've spewed on a complete stranger.
That's what I've heard 99% of Hello magazine is. It's just people saying, oh well, I was on the bus the other day and I vomited on a stranger. And then somebody else comes along and says, oh yeah, me too, I was on the bus the other day as well. Not the same bus, that would have been crazy. No, and then I vomited on a stranger.
That would have been unfathomable.
Yeah, completely.
Who could
unlikely.
believe that?
Nobody at all.
Oh, Jesus. Well, that's. I mean, it's only 3 minutes of bullshit, but
It's
we've
a
got a lot.
nice little soupçon of bullshit.
Yeah, we've got a lot to get through, folks. Okay, you know what I mean,
It's hard work. This is. I go
yeah,
down into a coal mine to do this. It's a 3-hour hike.
Yeah, I've got my little canary with me, also known as my brother Cameron.
Just to test out the fumes in the air like a canary would. So if Cameron stops tweeting like a canary, or if he starts tweeting like a canary, then you realise.
Yeah, it's a bit more complicated than that. I'm not going to go into. I don't even go in. He just, I just sort of go, off you go.
You put him in the coal mine, then come out again to do the podcast.
Yeah, I don't even go into the mine when I'm meant to be going in. I just go to a mine and just send them in. And you go.
Go on, at the bottom, in you go, all the way.
Keep going until it feels as if you should stop.
What a nice vague direction. See
Yep.
this road? Yeah, just keep walking. Go on, yeah, keep going until you feel like stopping. And then if you say it with a judgmental enough tone, they'll go, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't stop here.
Maybe
I should keep going. Oh, I don't know.
Maybe I should keep going off this dark chasm.
Maybe I should keep going directly off this cliff. Maybe that's like... And then that's how hypnosis works.
What? Whoa! What a segue that was. Houdini, do you know what I mean? Did Houdini do hypnosis? I don't know.
No. But I believe he went round like his hometown punching people who did seances directly in the face. That was like his whole thing.
Did he go around the town like stealing people's noses?
Got
your nose!
If that's your belief of magic, then
Yeah.
I'm very sorry for you. But no, apparently he hated seances, because like he was like, no, I don't believe in any of that. So he'd go to seances and then lie about what his name was, and lie about his family and stuff. Then they'd say, oh yes, this is true, and then he'd just punch them in the face. That was like his whole thing, apart from the magic.
I've got a healthy skepticism of seances, but I wouldn't resort to violence for giving them a fake backstory and then go, ha ha!
Aha!
I think that's a bit unreasonable.
It is a little bit unreasonable, but you know.
You know.
Right, so
now that we've
now that we've chatted about Houdini for a few minutes,
we had to get that out of the road. The big elephant in the room.
We did.
That he made disappear.
Yes. Oh. Whoa! A nice one. I like that one. That was very good.
Guys, see if this was more professional, we'd have a cymbal sound, but because we're just so mediocre, we're just going to make the sounds for you.
Now that you've said that, I am going to put a cymbal sound in here. And the listeners will have just heard
what editing? What editing that was, Lewis.
I know. It's superb. Incredible editing.
Oh, God.
The amount of effort I will have gone to find that cymbal sound. Oof. If it takes me more than 10 seconds, I won't bother. Okay, Danny, so...
Let's move along.
What did you think of El Camino?
Wow, you've jumped the gun there, Lewis.
Have I?
El Camino was written and directed...
of course it was, yes. I've even Googled it especially.
Yep. It was written and directed by Vince Gilligan. Mm-hmm. It is starring Aaron Paul, and spoilers from here on out, Jesse Plemons, Jonathan Banks, Robert Forster, Bryan Cranston, and Kirsten Ritter.
Yes, and we should have said right at the start, but this is going to be spoiler heavy.
Yeah,
This film came out last Friday, so that's a few days ago for us. So, spoilers.
Yep. Yeah.
Spoilers.
So obviously El Camino is essentially a really long Breaking Bad episode.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah. I want to hear your take on it, Lewis, first.
To be honest with you, I thought that I'd forgotten how to enjoy Breaking Bad. Do you know what I mean? After I'd finished the final episode of Breaking Bad, from that immediately it became like an academic exercise, like talking to you about Breaking Bad, or thinking about Breaking Bad, or analysing how shots are made up, and the different things characters say, and stuff like that. And it became that I enjoyed it in a different way to what I sort of should have done all along, if that makes sense. Yeah. So watching this for the first time and thinking, Badger and Skinny Pete are hilarious. And watching Jesse on his journey, and this is the first time in a long time that I've enjoyed Breaking Bad, and I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was very good.
I enjoyed it as well. Though I was worried when I heard they were making it, but then definitely. When I heard that Vince Gilligan was directing it and writing it, I was like, no, it'll be fine. It's very logical to what to the circumstances. No stupid decisions or ridiculous paths were taken. Yeah,
which is the great thing about Breaking Bad is that every decision that Walter White makes, every decision Jesse makes, Skyler makes, they're all reasonable, logical decisions, even though it takes them from juvenile delinquent and chemistry teacher to meth empires. Do you know what I mean? Even though there's this enormous... It all feels logical, okay, that's alright.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I think a few people, certainly that I've seen that have reviewed the film, were disappointed. Because I think that the film hadn't done itself any favours by, being... Because Breaking Bad has such good writing, it didn't do itself any favours from being made, because everyone was expecting or hoping for, Walter White's alive and he's going to come back, he's going to have another cool moment where he's like, you're goddamn right, and all that, and it was so much hype was made from it, and it was just a self-contained, very down-to-earth story that made sense, and I think it was underwhelming for a lot of people.
I can see that.
Even I expected, or at least even though I was like, no, that wouldn't make sense, I did hope for Walt to just appear and go, hey, I'm back,
Yeah. I think that for me, because I sort of isolated myself from it quite a bit. Like I watched the first trailer and I watched it once, and I didn't like analyze it, and then I didn't go online and look at theories, and I didn't read any reviews, and I think because I was so isolated from it, going in cold made it all the better for me. I think it felt like an epilogue to Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I think that's what this film serves as, is as the epilogue to Breaking Bad, rather than the lots more continuations and plot twists and all that a lot of people were expecting.
Definitely. I mean, I think it's only fair that Jesse got an ending, because obviously he drives off and it's, oh, well, what's he going to do? But like, Walt got his perfect ending.
Yeah.
Saul, who's, he's got his own show now, and I won't spoil it too much, but in the show they're sort of toying with what happens to Saul after he leaves as well, and I think we'll get a sort of conclusion for that. So I think the three main sort of complicated characters that we see in the show and in the universe deserve an ending that suits their character perfectly.
Yeah, definitely.
I was so surprised when I saw Robert Forster.
Yes.
As the disappearer. I was
yes.
Oh my god. I thought, because he was very old in the show. And yet he didn't look that different. R.I.P. by the way.
Yes, he has passed away now, which is very sad.
I know, that's dreadful. 2 days after it came out. It's dreadful. He was fantastic in it as well. Just that sort of unrelenting, that this is my code and that's the way I work, and you can't change it.
I did like that very much, and I liked how he was very confident in himself, to the point where, like, when Jesse was saying, "You've got just as much to lose as me. If the police come here and ask me, why am I giving you $500,000? What the hell's he gonna say?" And then he was like, "No, I'm fairly confident the police will come down on my side. That's okay.
Yep.
It'll be okay. It'll be all right. I don't really care."
Yeah.
I think one thing I did really like about this film was there was a lot of bits and bobs about Jesse that were like character building things without actually those things being said. Like, one of the ones I liked was that he's not very good at shooting guns.
No.
That time in the original Breaking Bad series when he killed, was it Gale?
Yes, Gale, yep.
Like, that could feasibly be the first time he actually killed somebody, the first time he maybe even shot a gun.
That is true.
And so now, watching this, in that bit where he's having that shootout with the guy from the welding company, that felt like, no, of course he's not going to be able to shoot him very well, he's going to be a bit messy, and because of course he would. Where would he have learned to shoot well? In the cage with the Nazis? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
It's a character building thing that without actually explicitly using those words. I really like that.
I liked it as well because, like, in the show we see sort of glimpses of, like, him coming up with ideas, and it's like, well, the impression you get is that he's stupid, but he's actually reasonably intelligent.
Oh yeah, definitely.
With the magnets idea and stuff like that. And when he went to his parents' house to get the guns, it was a bit sort of Heisenbergian, having a sort of trap card.
I think it was very Heisenbergian.
Yeah. I mean, complete misdirection, and it worked, perfectly. And the fact that it was a standoff was even better.
Oh yeah,
because Breaking Bad is like a western essentially.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah, it made sense for it to be a sort of Mexican standoff.
And I think that was very interesting how he was very Heisenberg for the duration of this film. From bits and bobs like, can you come and pick me up at the old duck pond or whatever, and then he goes to their house and takes the guns and whatever it might be. But from things like that, but also he doesn't stop doing things. After he takes that shower and cuts his hair off and whatever, he goes back to, like, in that bit where Walter White gets disappeared, and he's in that lodge, and the guy says to him, right, well, you've got to stay here until you die, essentially. You have to stay here.
Yeah.
And then immediately, as soon as the guy leaves, Walter White is up, out the door, walking down the path. Because he can't stand the thought of doing nothing.
Yep.
Jesse was very that in this film. after he took the shower and shaved his hair, he was constantly doing something. He was constantly thinking, right, well, I've got to get rid of the car. Now I've got to do this. Now I've got to do this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think that all those things sort of translate to, throughout the entire show, Jesse was under the control of someone. Like he never really had autonomy of his own. If it wasn't Walt, it was Gus. He was being manipulated by Gus, and then he was under the manipulation of Hank, and then he was given to the neo-Nazis. And you know, a bit like a puppet. You know the sort of steel welding thing that he's attached to when he cooks.
Sure,
he literally looks like a puppet, and I think in this film, he is finally autonomous, and finally takes on some Heisenbergian characteristics, and is finally free, not just from the law, but all of the control that he's been under for so long.
I completely agree, and I think that growth that he's gone through really impressed me when he was talking to the two guys from the welding company that were dressed up as policemen.
Yeah.
When he was in the apartment, and like they were on a completely different level to him. Now that he's spent his entire life going through this sort of petty crime and then huge meth empire level of crime, now he's so far above them. He's already done all of this. They're pointing a gun at his head, and he's just, this is an average Tuesday.
Yeah.
He's so far beyond being scared by them. I liked that as well. Another one of these character building-y things without actually saying the words.
Yeah. The film looks fantastic.
Oh god, yeah.
It just looks so picturesque, and it's shot so well that Vince Gilligan has such a good way of making these small little moments into things that you just remember.
Yeah, like when Jesse was searching the apartment, and it was like a top-down view of the floor plan.
Yeah, that was amazing. I really enjoyed that.
Lots of little bits like that just look really great.
Yeah.
And it as well, this is another thing that, like, watching Breaking Bad, sort of, I think it made me fall in love with that Mexican backdrop of, like, the big, tall, like, Monument Valley-style rocks and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then watching this, it made me remember that and think, oh, yes, it's so gorgeous. It has always been really gorgeous. And even now, thinking back to Breaking Bad, the bits I remember are the bits that are really striking. Like in the super lab, when they had a camera within one of those big boiling pots or whatever it was, and Walter White was pouring stuff in, and it was all really beautifully shot.
Yes, definitely. I mean, there had to be a montage in the film. It can't be Breaking Bad without a couple of montages.
Oh, we love a good montage, don't we?
Oh, we love a good montage. Here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How erratic do you think Todd's metabolism is?
What? What do you mean?
How erratic do you think Todd's metabolism is?
Literally the only thing that I can even begin to conceive of that would make you question this is that bit where he says, "Hey, you want to get a pepperoni pizza?" That's the only thing.
No.
What do you mean?
Did you watch Breaking Bad?
Yes, I watched Breaking Bad.
No. Let me finish.
Oh, okay, right.
Did you watch Breaking Bad in preparation for this?
I did not, no.
Right, well I did.
Okay.
And not the full season. Not the full show. I watched season 5 because I thought that would have been most relevant. And,
sure.
Jesse Plemons, who is an amazing actor, does not look the same.
Does he not?
No. I mean, he's put on a considerable amount of weight.
Oh, I didn't even notice, which I think says a lot about. Oh, I suppose it's my forgetfulness more than anything, but I genuinely didn't notice.
Well, I saw a lot of people have been talking about that, and I was surprised that they allowed that to happen, especially with Vince's attention to detail. I mean, I suppose you can't just say, "Here, Jesse, gonna lose some weight for this, mate." You know, you need to lose a couple of couple of pounds for this one, Jesse, if we're going to be in this. I suppose that would have been a bit of an awkward conversation to have.
Yeah, I think it perhaps would have been.
He looks like, because steadily as he's getting older, he looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman. Do you know who that is?
I know he was in Mission Impossible. Let me Google Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He actually, now that I think about it, he actually played his son in a film. He looks so much like him.
Oh my god, he really does look like him.
He
was
does.
from Hunger Games, and oh my god. If you told me these two people were related, I would 100% believe you. I would believe you. That they look so similar.
Yep.
That's it. Really crazy. I didn't even consider that.
I know, it's mental.
I think I remember
It really
thinking the first couple of shots of Todd. I remember thinking, has he put some weight on? And then I remember thinking, oh no, it's just the wind, or it's just his jacket, or.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? I think I didn't notice it for long enough that it sunk in.
Maybe when they get Jesse, Todd puts on like a lot of weight during the year that Jesse is trapped, and then simultaneously loses it like immediately after he's put it on.
He might do, I guess.
I'm just trying, because I hate inconsistencies.
Okay, you're trying to rationalise it.
Yeah, and because Breaking Bad has such a high track record of being consistent and having continuity, I have to think of a way to explain.
I see.
Yeah, because he's a psycho, so he just he put on a lot of weight and just lost it again. Because he's just a psycho, and that's what they do, apparently.
Okay. I've got to say, I really want on a t-shirt, dude, you're my hero and shit.
Oh God.
I thought that was a brilliant line.
Yeah, I mean, it was alright. I was too busy thinking about Todd.
Watching these scenes with those three wonderful actors, thinking,
yeah,
God, Todd's put some weight on. Here's a question.
See, do you know what it'd be like? Do you remember Huel?
Huel, yeah.
Huel Babineau. See if he came in like skinny as anything, I'd be like, what the fuck? You know, I'd be like, why are you doing this? Do you know what I mean? And if I was Vince, I'd be like, look, mate, you need to beef up a wee bit, okay? I've got some snacks.
I've got a big bucket of M&Ms. Go on, mate.
Go in there and eat. That's what I'd be saying. But, you know, I suppose it'll have to do.
I thought you were kidding about how much this had annoyed you, but this has genuinely wound you up a bit, hasn't it?
Well, it hasn't. It's ticked me off. It made me look twice. I was like, oh, okay, fine, I guess.
Fine, I guess. Glowing review of the new film El Camino.
Yeah, I mean his performance is fantastic as well. Jesse Plemons is just so
horrible
when he's singing in the car.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, this guy is just remorseless.
I remember watching it way back when Todd killed that child without hesitation. I remember thinking, oh well, Todd's a psycho then. And I remember watching this and thinking, right, Todd's still a psycho then.
Yeah. And that poor maid that he killed as well.
Yeah. He
did it with his belt, and then he put his belt back on.
Which is, it's crazy.
Oh my God. And what I did like, a little nod, was the snow globes.
I know there was a snow globe.
Yeah, the snow globe that the...
Oh, yeah.
The robber guy looks at, it's like of Todd and Lydia.
Yeah.
Because like Todd fancies her, and I think it's just incredibly disturbing that he's put, an equally psychopathic person in a snow globe together, with the two of them. Yeah,
that was quite disturbing and weird. Because now that... When I saw it, I thought, oh, maybe you just saw one in the shop that looked like that. But now I think back to it, yeah, he would have either had to make it or commission it or something, which is even creepier.
That is really creepy. He also said, do you want some soup? and then just put some beans into a pot.
I think it was bean soup.
Is that a thing?
I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I mean, it is a thing, yeah, but I'm pretty sure that's what he said. He said, I got some bean soup, or, yeah.
Oh, God.
Because he went, it's cream of chicken, chicken and mushroom, chicken and spinach, bean soup, or something like that.
Bean soup? Why not just put some beans in a pot? Just boil it. I mean,
I guess it's different kind of beans to, like, Heinz.
He's a psycho.
He's
only just.
It's pulling a Rorschach. He's going to eat some beans cold.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I quite liked at the Nazi compound when they were testing out that steel that Jesse was tied up to. Jesse was lit like separately to the Nazis, which was a little thing that I quite liked. Like the Nazis' light was a bit colder and Jesse's light was a bit warmer, and it was as he's completely separate to them. It just showed that sort of distinction, like in a very subtle visual way.
I mean, the show is famous for doing that, just sort of very subtle camera nods.
Yeah.
To just and I think that Breaking Bad wasn't originally meant to be shot in New Mexico.
Oh, is it not?
No, it was meant to be shot in like California.
Huh, and I never knew that.
If it was shot in California, I think that would have done a huge disservice to the show. I mean, the landscape is just so...
Such a big part of it, and
Yeah, it's, it just translates how these characters feel a lot of the time, just isolated and barren and desolate.
And I've got no idea what the California countryside is, but I imagine it's quite different to the New Mexico countryside.
Yeah, apparently California has the temperature of a Mordor.
That's quite hot, I imagine.
Yeah, the predicted temperature of Mordor, which means that Mordor's pretty cold when you think about it. Because it's got a fucking volcano in it. It's only a small volcano.
It's only a little volcano. Yeah. It's a baking soda and vinegar volcano.
You know all about Mordor, don't you, Lewis?
Oh yeah, I know loads about Mordor.
Yep, all the. That's what you talk about in the Shire. I hear wee Davy went to Mordor last week.
Yeah, well.
What's a Stoke accent? Say Davy went to Mordor in a Stoke accent.
I genuinely don't think I'm capable. The way I speak is nothing at all like people from Stoke speak. Like there's a couple of people I meet occasionally, and the first time I ever speak to them, I think, what? Sorry, can you say that again? I genuinely can't understand them. It's really strange. This very, very strong Stoke accent.
Yeah.
Because the classic is things like saying, oh yeah, I say book instead of book, but it's like, well,
book.
Beyond that, there's more layers to it. Things like saying the instead of you. Like in a sentence as a preposition, and which is you understand it if you're reading it in a book or something, but it's just enough of a difference that it throws you, and you think, what? Sorry.
So it's like influenced by like Old English.
Yeah. Like if you read Chaucer poems, like the Canterbury Tales and stuff, if you read that in a proper Potteries accent, it lilts how it's supposed to, but if you read it in like a received pronunciation accent, it doesn't, which is very strange.
I mean, I saw a thing that Shakespeare wouldn't have sounded very posh. He wouldn't have had an RP accent. It would have been Midlands, sort of,
Yeah, I suppose so, because he was from Stratford-upon-Avon, wasn't he? Which is in the Midlands, I think. I'm gonna have to Google that bad boy.
That little tidbit.
I like this dead air where I'm just googling Stratford-upon-Avon.
That's real typing, folks.
Oh yeah, each one of those keystrokes is real.
Yeah, I mean that's not been edited in. Lewis is genuinely typing.
Stratford-upon-Avon is quite close to Birmingham.
Right.
So I suppose he might have had a Birmingham accent, which is kind of quite strange to think about, isn't it, in a strange way?
Yeah.
Because he's so often portrayed in films and TV with a very posh accent, like in Doctor Who, and he has that very posh voice, and in Good Omens he has that very posh voice. It's quite strange, isn't it?
It is. To be or not to be?
That is the question.
That is the question. It doesn't have the same ring, does it?
It doesn't, but I suppose that was the actors saying that, not Shakespeare. So maybe they were very posh.
Yeah. Like, he directed, no, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to do that again. Like, just like,
That was really terrible. I'm sorry, you're going to have to do that again. And don't forget to act on this one.
I mean, the tone, if you sounded like Tommy Shelby from Peaky Blinders, I suppose it would be a bit of a, to be or not to be. I think it would, if it was a bit deeper, it'd probably be.
That might work, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to El Camino.
Back to El Camino from Brummie Shakespeare.
Yep.
Going back to Todd for just a brief second, it sort of freaked me out how Todd kind of viewed him as like a pet.
Yeah.
That was really creepy and horrible and weird. I was like, "You gonna come out? Or do you want this cigarette?" And he like dangled the cigarette down into the cage and
Yeah, and like he licked his hand and put his hair down.
yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to do better at cleaning you from now on." It's like, oh my god. And like when they arrive at the apartment, he like sort of strokes his head and goes, "Well done, good job."
Yeah. Oh,
Good job, Jesse.
good job. Massively creepy. Here's a question for you.
Go on.
Why do you think Jesse didn't just shoot Todd in the desert when he had the chance?
I asked myself that. I think it was probably a mixture between worrying about Brock, but also, I suppose by this point, pepperoni pizza probably sounds better. I know that sounds ridiculous, but
Yeah.
it might be a degree of like Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, I suppose so. Maybe he's sort of conditioned into thinking, well, pepperoni pizza is pretty great. Aside from the cigarettes with Todd's saliva all over them. Aside from
That's
those,
true.
I'm not smoking those tonight. I'm having a pizza and
Yeah.
ice cold beer. Ooh.
But I'd probably imagine, well, if I kill Todd and I don't show up, they'll figure it out and then I'll have to look over my shoulder for the rest of my life.
That's very true, yeah.
Because they've got 80 million like US dollars, so they could probably find him. You
Yeah,
know.
I suppose so.
But
Unless he went back to the ranch and stole it all while they were on holiday in wherever it was.
Yeah, that's true, I suppose. I mean, why do you think he
I
didn't?
think I genuinely didn't know. That's why I wrote it down. I genuinely didn't know. But now that you mention that kid again, that puts me back in the mind of it and just think, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Because because I'd forgotten that child existed completely, and so now I'm looking at it thinking, well, why didn't you just? Because if he just shot him and he could just go and steal then he'd have a great what? But no, now it makes complete sense.
Yep. And I've just had a thought.
Go on.
It might not even have been loaded.
The gun.
Yeah.
I suppose not. Yeah.
It might have just been a game that Todd did to see what he would do. Because like Todd is like, well, in the film he's big enough to overpower him. But I think that. Oh, that's interesting. Now that I've just thought of that, maybe he put the gun in there, knew that it was empty, and then asked him to go get it, knowing that he would see it, and just a little social experiment to see what he would do.
Maybe
and whether
it's
he would try and kill him.
Maybe in that same vein, it's something Todd engineered not as a social experiment, but as to prove to Jesse that Jesse is subservient.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I like the thought of that of Todd literally going from using Jesse like a pet. That's like sort of training him in a strange way, training your dog not to wee inside the house, and training Jesse not to shoot you.
Wow, if that was the case, that'd be brilliant.
It would be. I have to
But
write a tweet to Vince Gilligan.
Yeah, but if it was the case, why wouldn't he show that?
Yeah, that's true.
But then again, if he tried to shoot him, wouldn't that mean that Todd would have to go kill the child?
Yeah,
he did
that's
say
true.
That. He said, if you try and escape, I'm going to have to go to the little boy.
That's true.
So I don't know.
So maybe he couldn't chance it. If the gun wasn't loaded, and if he'd have tried to shoot Todd and failed, maybe he would have just had to watch on helpless as Todd killed that kid.
Oh, so you think that Jesse maybe realised
Maybe Jesse
wait.
thought. Maybe Jesse didn't realise, but he thought, well, that I don't want to run the chances. I don't want to think, well, it might be loaded and I might kill him, but if there's a 1% chance that I don't kill him and then he goes and kills the kid, then I'm not going to chance it.
Yeah. That makes more sense. I like that. I think that's good.
One thing that, right at the end, when Bryan Cranston came out of that hotel room, and I thought, oh my god, that's Bryan Cranston! It really threw me for a loop. I didn't expect it at all. But seeing Cranston with like his breakfast, it made me remember, the eggs he had in Breaking Bad, where it was 50 and then 52.
Yeah.
And I remember I didn't think it at the time, but now looking back, the entirety of Breaking Bad happened in 2 years.
That's true.
That is insane.
I know. Everyone goes through so many changes as well.
Yeah.
And because they say it throughout the show, they're like, yeah, I've been chasing this guy for the better part of a year. And it's like, what? This has only been a year. And then they go away for a year. Jesse's trapped with them for a year.
Yeah.
Walt is in the mountains for a year. And you're like, Jesus, wow, this has been going on for some time. No, it's only been a year, mate. It's like,
I suppose it feels longer because it's like essentially 6 series, but 2 years. Whereas normally a series is like indicative of a year.
You couldn't make Breaking Bad into a film.
No, definitely not.
Unless it was like 8 hours long. And even then, you would be missing a lot of stuff.
I remember talking to my dad a long time ago when we were watching Breaking Bad, not as it came out, but because we didn't have Netflix. But do you know what I mean? We were watching Breaking Bad years ago, and he briefly said, "Wouldn't it be good as a video game if you played Walter White or as Jesse or as whoever, and then you got the RV and you had to like level it up, and then all the things that happened in Breaking Bad were levels in the game, like in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah,
how it's very story driven.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto's got some great stories. And I think that would probably be actually pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. But I think don't get me wrong, I think it's much better as the TV series that it is.
Yeah.
But I think it could have made an interesting video game as well. But it would have obviously reached a much smaller audience.
Yeah, and the character development wouldn't have worked as well.
Yes, yeah, because you are the character.
In a free roam place, careful, calculating Walt would probably not be shooting rocket launchers into buildings.
No, probably not, no.
Yeah, I am the danger! Just shooting everything. And it's like, how did I get caught? But
I think I quite enjoyed all the sort of visual motifs that represented Jesse still feeling trapped, still feeling...
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and there was a lot of the time he was stood behind some bars, or he was next to a window that had wire on it, or wire in it, or I quite like those bits, and how he climbed fences like a lot, stuff like that. That was all quite nice.
And the PTSD moment at the beginning of the film, where he's sleeping and he wakes up, and still thinks that he's in a cage.
Yes, yeah.
That was really good.
It was very good, and I remember way back when thinking Badger and Skinny P were like quite good characters, but then watching this for the first time, I thought, oh my god, Badger and Skinny P are amazing. I love them. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
And how they're both very eager to help him, and they just hand over $8,000 and a car, and just say, there you go, do whatever you want, man. Just go for it,
Yeah. They are the best hitmen west of the Mississippi.
Well, that's very true. That's very true.
Which makes me think, like, how much of their money came from Walt that they gave to Jesse?
I have no idea. How much money did Walt give them?
I think it was like 10 grand each or something. I don't know for certain.
Yeah, because Jesse counted it out, didn't he, for the disappearer guy, and it was $8,000, give or take a few $100. So like, I don't know. I really don't know, because that would make sense if it was $4,000 each.
Yeah.
But then looking at their house, and they'd clearly thought, oh, we've come into cash. let's buy this big TV, these big chairs, this like games consoles,
And the Xbox that they have, because this is so Breaking Bad. Like chronologically in the show, started in 2008. So really, it should be 2010. Now, was that Xbox out by 2010?
No, but I say it probably doesn't matter.
It does. It really does, Lewis.
Right.
You can't make a show say, oh, it's only been 2 years, and then, have an Xbox One in your living room.
No, but if it's like an alternate reality, you could also say, oh, yeah, it's an alternate reality where everything is the same, except for the story of Walter White and Jesse Pinkman, and also the Xbox One came out in 2010.
Yeah, but they reference like real world things. Quite a lot of they reference like Star Trek. Saul references Clinton. One thing that I did notice in the show is that Jack, Uncle Jack, the neo-Nazi, references Osama bin Laden, who hadn't been killed in the time that he was meant to be speaking it.
Okay.
Whacking bin Laden wasn't this complicated. It's like, well, he's not to be killed for another 4 years, Jack.
Right.
So you're a bit early in that, Ian. And then I was trying to rationalise that. I was like, well, maybe he's a conspiracy theorist and maybe thinks that the US government has already did it behind closed doors.
Maybe he was. Maybe he did.
See, that's the point.
Because it fits, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
I suppose so, but it's just things like that. I mean...
But then there was one of these in Harry Potter. I think it was the first Harry Potter book, or the second Harry Potter book, maybe. It was referenced... J.K. Rowling makes reference to a PlayStation. And says, Dudley got a new PlayStation for Christmas, and Harry wasn't allowed to use it, or whatever it was. But... the time the book was set was something like 6 months before it was released, and in that 6 months the PlayStation had been released, and she'd written about it, and then but like 6 months prior it wasn't even a concept in the public psyche. But like I still that does not come into my sphere of thoughts when I'm considering Harry Potter.
But it just annoys me. just little things. It just like, everything should be essential to your story, and if you're gonna set a time and a place, just stick to it, okay? But Better Call Saul does it very well because it still keeps the old sort of flip phones and little Sony Ericssons, these little ones that are easily breakable, and it's got the same cars. So far, I can't find anything yet that has strayed from the time period that it's set in.
Sure.
It's even earlier. Like, Better Call Saul starts in 2003.
Okay.
And, 2003, if everything just sort of came back from 2003, it would look like unrecognisable today. But just little things like that, they just cream my corn, Lewis.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah. I was surprised at the amount of flashbacks that he used.
Yeah, there were a lot of flashbacks.
A lot of flashbacks.
This was definitely a Jesse Pinkman story. Compared to Breaking Bad, how Breaking Bad was more of the story of Walter White and all the people that Walter White is with and nearby. But this was very much a story of Jesse Pinkman, and therefore we're going to have lots of flashbacks. Yes.
I liked... I loved the scene with Mike at the beginning.
That was a really good scene. I like that.
That was lovely. I mean, what was it he said? I love the idea that Mike gave Jesse the idea to go to Alaska.
I love Mike. Mike's great.
Mike is like a sort of better version of Walt, like a more nobler version of Heisenberg, I think.
I know what you mean, but I think Mike is also not as calculating as Walt is. Mike maintains... Like, Mike couldn't cook meth if he had to. Mike couldn't make a pipe bomb or whatever it was in that guy's wheelchair if he had to,
Yeah, that's true. But Mike doesn't... It's not his ego that kills Mike. Mike can separate his feelings and his pride from his work.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
And Walt can't do that. Walt is a very pride driven.
Definitely.
But in a sort of weird contrast, Jesse can't separate his conscience and his, compassion from his work.
Which is something that Mike and Walt both do very easily.
Yeah. So Jesse is a sort of like more complete human being in the middle of those two.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Which I think it's nice, a nice way, and they're all bald as well.
And that's always good, isn't it? We do like a bit of boldness.
Almost every major main character in Breaking Bad is bald. Like every male major main character.
Saul?
Yeah, okay.
The disappearing guy?
Fine. Fuck off. No, but Gus is bald, Mike's bald, Hank's bald,
Walt's bald.
Walt's bald, Jesse's bald, but before he goes to the neo-Nazis, there's a lot of baldness, which is good, I guess.
I don't think I have any strong opinions on baldness one way or the other.
Yeah, we need to look at the demographics for how many bald people there were in 2008 to 2010.
To see how accurate this is.
See if it fits with the continuity. I did like sort of like the establishing shots where it shows Saul's old office with it looking like, normal without the big Statue of Liberty, and then it showed Los Pollos Hermanos with the sign gone, and it's been replaced with twisters.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is in real life. It's a twisters in real life.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That makes me think of for Stranger Things Series 3, they make that whole big deal about, there's a new mall in town and all this. It was an actual mall somewhere in America that they used, and they sort of cannibalised a wing of it and made it into a Stranger Things compatible set, and put in stores that worked and whatever that worked, and that's quite crazy, isn't it?
And they also built spoilers, massive Russian base underneath.
Yeah, they dug underneath the mall and they put in a big Russian base and said to the Russian government, "Do you want to put some spies in this base?" Yeah, go on.
That was a weird season.
It was, but I think it became sort of self-aware in a strange way.
Yeah.
It was very aware that, we're the only TV show on TV that can make Russian spies under an American mall. We're the only people that make that work, or whatever it might be.
Yeah. We'll save all our thoughts for when we review Stranger Things at some point, or whenever.
Indeed.
Yeah, because we've got some controversial opinions.
Do we?
Well, I've noticed a few anachronisms in that show as well.
Oh, have you now? Fantastic.
Yes, and I'll save them for when we eventually come to that.
Okay.
What did you think of Kirsten Ritter? I mean, she was in it for she was in it for less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, that was going to be my immediate response. Was she was in one scene, but I liked her in the original show. I thought she was good in the original show. She was good for Jesse. She was a good character for Jesse to grow both next to and sort of with. Yeah. And I thought she was good in this. She maintained the same sort of energy as she had in the original show. Mm-hmm. What did you think of Kirsten Ritter in this?
I think she was disgustingly underused.
Okay.
Todd got more screen presence than her, and I think arguably Jane is a more essential character to Jesse than Todd.
Yeah, I'd completely agree with you, but I think the issue is Jane's dead. How much Jane can they put in when she's dead in universe?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Although I agree with what you mean. It would have, if they'd have put in a few more flashbacks of Jesse and Jane, that would have been good, because Jane is definitely more essential to Jesse's story. She definitely sort of shapes him into the man he is, and she influences his decisions and stuff like that more than Todd does.
Yeah,
but then
definitely.
So does Mike, one could argue. Jesse and Mike have this interesting dynamic as well, which was only
That's true.
built upon with one scene instead of the multiple scenes they probably deserved.
That's very true. I mean, maybe it was just... I mean, yeah, because you would run out of time, wouldn't you? You can't just spend the entire time putting in flashbacks.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that would just give us, the Breaking Bad, the unseen bits.
I think I'm quite interested by how we've spoken about Breaking Bad in this podcast, because I think I've always thought it's one of the things that you and I like for different reasons. How I like it for sort of the snappiness of it in a way, and how gorgeous it is, and I like how it's shot and how the visual storytelling is. And I've always thought that you like it more for the sort of cat and mouse between, say, Walt and Gus. And then Walt and Mike and Gus, and
yeah, I mean, I love character studies.
Yeah.
And after character studies, it's definitely cat and mouse, TV shows or books or movies. Just the chess match between Gus and Walt, and it's a common thread that throughout this podcast that we've talked about very intelligent, egotistical people, sort of being adversaries against each other, but just I can't even. And it ended so perfectly. Like Walt had just absolutely bamboozled not only Gus but the audience as well.
Yeah, that's true.
With the whole Lily of the Valley thing, and the last shot is zooming in on the plant, and you realise, oh my god, look what he's done.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it for you. You need to go watch the show if you haven't seen it. Here's a question I want to ask you in relation to sort of character. What do you think is the worst thing that Walt has done?
That is a big question.
It certainly is.
I think the one that immediately jumps out in my mind is taking a bomb to a hospital. I know he didn't actually detonate the bomb, but that's sort of, in a lot of ways, to me, is a really terrible thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a really terrible thing, and it's the fact that he ended up manipulating circumstances into which, okay, yeah, he's just bringing this bomb to this hospital.
Yeah.
What do you think?
He also bombed a nursing home as well.
Oh god, yeah, he did. Although I suppose that was only a very sort of localised bombing to that one room. But I mean, a bombing is a bombing, let's be honest.
Lewis Brindley, The Degrees of Bombing. I think the worst thing that he did, and it just when I watched it, I was like, oh my god, that is when Hank is shot, and he hands Jesse over to the neo-Nazis, and he says, wait, and then he says, I watched Jane die. When he finally admits what he did, not because he feels remorse, but he did it to be purely evil,
Yeah.
He was upset that Hank had been killed, and before sending him off to be tortured, he revealed that he's the reason that his loved one is dead. I thought that was just the most horrific, cruel thing that you could do in that situation.
Oh yeah.
And even though it's not killing people or bombing places, I just thought, how can you do something like that? And what I did love after when he goes into the car, he turns the mirror away from him because he can't look at himself.
Yeah,
which I thought was great.
I think the point at which I sort of hated Walt most was when Mike was sort of sat there on the sand dying, and Walt was sort of trying to talk to him, and Mike went, shut the fuck up and let me die in peace, whatever it was. And I remember hating him in that moment, thinking that Mike, as much as he is like a very brutal man who's murdered a lot of people and he's done some terrible things, he also had done it to support his daughter and his granddaughter and his family and all this sort of stuff. And I remember really hating Walt because Walt's entire motivation is pretty much just selfish.
Yes.
But Mike's motivation is, well, I want my granddaughter to have a nice life.
Yeah. I mean, in the scene before that, it's like, I want the names of your 9 men. I want them. Give me them. And then Mike attacks Walt's ego, and Walt has already taken the gun out of his bag and goes to get it, and then shoots Mike, and he goes down into the river, and he's like on the sand, and Walt says, "Oh, I just realised Lydia has the names. I can get them from her."
Duh.
So he kills him for no other reason than he's hurt my pride and now he has to die.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is just the most despicable thing that a person can do. Just needless, selfish killing.
Oh yeah,
for your
yeah,
own.
yeah, yeah.
Oh God.
I
You would never have thought from the start of Breaking Bad, this passive guy whose just life is pretty bad. You know, he's just got so many things going wrong for him, and then he gets cancer, and you just would never have thought, when Breaking Bad comes to a close, that he is this calculating, psychopathic narcissist.
Yeah.
Who will do anything to win.
I often like to think about it as a transition from Walter White to Heisenberg. At the end of the series, there was no Walter White left, and he talked to Skylar as though she was a stranger, and that was a completely different man to the one we sort of started the series with.
Oh yeah.
I think in the midpoint, that was Walter White being uncomfortable with being Heisenberg, how he'd sort of developed these bad things he'd been doing, but on the same level, he was still sorry for doing them.
Yeah, and he admits it in the end.
Yeah,
to her. You know, when he says, "I did it for me, I liked it." Do you think that was remorse, or do you think that was just, I can't even be bothered pretending to lie anymore?
You know, I really don't know. I think
I suppose
that's the point. Is it's very ambiguous.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I remember taking it as remorse, as he wants his kids to have money and all this sort of stuff. But no, I really don't know.
But realised, wow, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this.
And I'm really good at this. And I can make loads of money. This obscene amount of money.
I don't even think it was the money.
No, I suppose he was in it for the Empire.
And just the thrill, just the feeling of power, I think was what really drove him, because he, powerless for most of his life, and then suddenly he's the most dangerous man in the room. What I know that I don't know that we'll, we might do in the future do a podcast on Better Call Saul, but when you see Saul in Breaking Bad, you don't automatically assume that there's much character development there. But
sure.
when you watch Better Call Saul, it's like he is my favourite character out of all of them. Like I enjoy Better Call Saul more than I enjoy Breaking Bad.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's slower. It's more deliberate, but it's so good and it's shot so well, and it's because I quite like character studies. It's just this examination of how a fairly decent man, through social interactions, becomes this cowardly, con artist.
Sure.
And it's so tragic and so heartbreaking, but I really enjoy it more than Breaking Bad.
Oh, that's very interesting to hear. I've never watched Better Call Saul, but I tried to watch the first couple of episodes because my dad got quite into it. So I watched the first couple of episodes, and then I thought, no, I don't like this very much. It was too slow for me. I couldn't get quite invested in.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple of bits and bobs that felt a bit like fan service, like Tuco and coming back and all that sort of stuff. I remember thinking, yeah. And I remember not being enthused enough about it to keep watching it.
Well, you said to me when you'd finished watching Breaking Bad, and I started watching it, and I was like, wow, there's some bits where it's just a bit sort of, and you were just like, no, push through it.
Yeah, that's very true.
Worth it. It is worth it at the end, and I can say wholeheartedly that at the end of It's not done yet. I think there's a couple more seasons, but when you get to the end of season 4, you're like, yeah, I want to see where this goes.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but it's a fantastic show.
I shall have to invest some time in it then.
Yeah, and it's so rare that you get spin-offs that are decent.
That's true.
Most spin-offs are shite.
Very true. But like, I suppose Frasier, that was really good compared to Cheers.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I
mean, the fact that we can't think of any others probably proves your point for you. But yeah.
Yeah.
God, I don't know about you, but I think I've actually exhausted my notes now.
I think so as well. I certainly have. I mean, it's not a complicated story.
It's not. No, it's not.
It's very. It knows what it is. It's very self-contained, and it's, you don't expect to see Walt and Gus come out on a dinosaur shooting people. It's very logical and it makes sense. But if you're expecting a massive, then you're in the wrong film.
One thing I found quite interesting, which I only literally just occurred to me now after I've watched the film, was right at the end when Jesse hops off the back of the truck and says, "Oh, so this is Alaska." And the guy says, "Yeah, this is Alaska. It's very..." And Jesse says, "This is very quiet." And he says, "Yeah, I thought you'd like that. I thought that might be good for you." That sort of implies that
that he didn't make.
Make the choice. It was complete coincidence that he ended up in Alaska. Because I might be completely getting this wrong, but when Walt disappeared, didn't he ask, "Can I choose where I go?" And the guy went, "No."
Yeah, I mean, there's a similar scene where Jesse asks Saul, "Do I get to choose where I go?" And Saul says, "It's your life. I think you'll get a say in it."
Yeah.
But maybe by that point, for Walt, he was too hot to get a normal life. It was too dangerous for him to be put in a sort of normal place, so he put him in a sort of shack in New Hampshire.
That's very true, yeah.
But so was Jesse. But maybe it wasn't. I've decided to put you to Alaska. Maybe what he's saying is, yeah, I thought you'd like it in this part of Alaska.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but
as with all of Breaking Bad, it's very ambiguous. It's very
yes. What I did like, just my final little footnote, I liked the El Camino. I checked this like 5 times. It is the exact car that Jesse uses to get away. And El Camino, correct me if I'm wrong, in Spanish means the way.
Yeah, the way, like the path, or yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, that's brilliant. And then I saw, what was it, Kanoi, the welding company.
Oh yeah.
Kanoi means hill, apparently.
Oh, okay.
So it's like sort of the way up the hill, almost.
Yeah, and the hill blocks his path. Yeah. Yes,
exactly. And I thought just little bits like that are what makes the writing so good.
These little bits of attention to detail that just push it over the edge. Yeah.
Yeah, but they still couldn't get Todd to lose a bit of weight, for fuck's sake.
And you're furious about it. You're going to write very angry letters to Vince Gilligan, to the actor that played Todd. Furious. That's what you are. Furious.
Furious.
I'll never forget this, Vince Gilligan. I'll never watch a single thing you ever do ever again. I'm going to stop. I'm going to boycott. I'm going to boycott Better Call Saul just because of this one thing that most people won't even notice.
Yep, that's it. Ugh, jeez, oh.
Aye.
Well, that's sad.
It is a bit, yeah. But you know what? I just realised halfway through this podcast, we haven't spoken about what we're going to discuss next week.
Oh, that's a good point.
I'd like to offer a suggestion.
Go on then.
There was a BBC series a couple of years ago called The Night Manager.
The Night Manager?
Did you see it?
I didn't see it.
In my head, I've watched it a couple of times, and in my mind, it is, in a lot of ways, the ultimate cat and mouse type drama.
Oh.
I think you'd like it very much.
How many seasons are there?
Just one. I think it's only got 6 episodes or something.
Oh.
It's like a mini-series.
Right. Do you know if it's on iPlayer?
It's not on iPlayer. It's on Amazon Prime.
Right.
It's on illegal websites, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I'll without stating how I'm going to do it, I'll figure out a way to get that watched.
Fantastic. I suppose the only things that are remain to be said are three things. The first of which is we have a Patreon.
Hiya!
We have a Patreon. It would mean the absolute world if you are able to help us out and support us just a little bit. Allow us to keep making this podcast just like we want to, because we do love it, but we don't get paid, but we'd absolutely love for your support.
Yeah, and we've got some lovely little treats for those that help us out.
We do.
So, yeah, maybe not as enticing as you might hope them to be, but you know, they're
including but not limited to a bonus podcast.
Oh.
And exclusive access to a competing podcast, The Creepy Room.
Yes, by some absolute arseholes.
Yeah, I have no idea who they are, you know.
Yeah, no idea.
I think I had an email from them way back in the day, when I hadn't even vocalised to you the thought of making a podcast. And it was a guy that said, "Hi, I'm Lewis, I'm a hobbit, and I'm going to make a podcast. Is that alright?" And I thought, well, I don't know who you are, so I guess that's fine. And now look, they're here, making a competing podcast to this one that we're generating.
He's got the same name as you.
No, it's spelled really weirdly.
How's it spelled? How's it spelled?
It's Lywis, so it is a bit different, sadly. Yeah.
Sounds like a villain.
Yeah. I think he's making it with his friend Danny.
Dahanai, I think it's pronounced.
Yeah, Dahnni. Dahanai.
Yeah,
something like that.
What a dick.
But we do have a lot of good little perks and stuff, and you can subscribe for as little as $1 a month, which would mean the absolute world to us. So please do go and check us out. It's patreon.com/shoutingintothevoid.
Please do. Where can people find you, Lewis?
That was the second thing, and people can find me at...
I was mixing it up. I want to say it. I want to see how it feels.
Oh, very nice. How did it feel?
It was good.
Did you feel powerful?
I felt very powerful.
Oh, good stuff.
I felt like an overqualified chemistry teacher who starts cooking meth.
Oh, nice. Well, I feel just like a one of his ex-students who's cooking meth. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, until you get your own solo film, and then you're like, yeah, let's go to Alaska.
Yeah, then I take a gun with me in the shower and shave my hair. That's what I do.
Yeah, wouldn't the gunpowder... No, let's we're leaving it now.
I don't think that's how guns work, but people can find me at on Instagram at Lewis_Brindley, on Twitter at LewisBrindley4, and just in the street, if you see somebody that looks a bit like me, just shout, "Oi, Lewis," and I might turn round. Where can people find you, Danny?
People can find me on Instagram at O'Hiram. They can also find me on Twitter, Kerzo2000, and they can also find me on my Facebook page, Daniel Kerr. You can also find me in the Bearded Scotsman, which is a pub that only I go into by myself.
So they won't find you in there then, because if it's just only you are allowed to go in.
Well, it's not that I'm the only one allowed to go in. It's like no one wants to go in because I'm there.
Oh, I see. You still haven't figured out that problem of why you smell so bad.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a national outcast in Scotland, Lewis.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I'm a bit of a rogue up here. All the countrymen in their huts are shouting at me as I walk past. Get here, you dirty, Sassenach, yeah.
I see. Very good. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Shouting Into the Void.
I was talking about some serious domestic devolved stuff there, Lewis.
Go on. Finish your point then. Go on. Tell me more about how people hate you.
I'd finished it. Wait.
Okay. Well, I think that does draw things to a conclusion.
Somewhat of a conclusion.
Just about, somehow.
Yep.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. We hope you very much enjoyed it. Please do check us out on Patreon, check us out online.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you.